the lightning that sleeps in stones. Just as you cannot give me all the questions, I cannot give you all the answers. The Spirit. From the narrow fissures of the skull, universes are born. How? No one in the universe knows how. No one not in the universe knows how. Spiriting the Spirit. Why? Because I chose you. Spirit of the Spirit. Where? In the Spirit's light. When? When the Spirit decides. What? Wind healing. Spiriting the Spirit. Who? Wind healers. Spirits. What strange fire lives in the sun's belly? What strange milk nourishes the moon's breast? What abyss floats in the blackbird's wings? What lung seeds the wind with thought? What invisible language does the wind in lungs dream? What invisible language dreams the lungs? What wind drums the lungs? What tears swim in the sea? The energy of the visitor sings my wings to see. Where do whispers drink the wind? What strange galaxies live in the skull? How many lungs sing the wind? The wind pregnant with lungs. What wind impregnates the lungs with seeing? Where does the lightning hide its salt? This breast of wind singing the womb. How many lungs swim the wind? How many stars swim the skull? Death drinks the dream, a cloud of lungs singing the womb of astral waters of singing futures. This butterfly of pearls singing, the wind with wings of cloud, the sky of skulls singing my lungs. What secrets are hidden in the serpent's scales? How many hearts sing the divine puzzle? These shadows pregnant with abyss, these petals perfuming my skull with sound. Why birth, light of beauty? Why death, energy of God? Why sleep, spirit's love? These roses singing in my chest, where are the roses singing the heart's drumbeats? The lungs pregnant with wind. Is the imagination a part of the womb? Does imagination dream the womb? This heart of wombs nourishing the universe. Where do tears dance in the sea? This tongue of fire singing the wind. Where does the invisible tongue hide its wind? What sweet roses dance in the blood? The blossom of whispers singing the silence, perfuming the skull. These words spinning on paper, swimming in pearls. This memory of mother singing my bones. These whispers perfuming my memory. These whispers in the wind singing. These lungs pregnant with the wind. The lung of memory exhaling the wind. The lung of memory exhaling the future. This tongue of wind echoing thunder, the womb of the abyss foaming sky, the abyss of the lung singing sky, the womb of the lung drinking the wind. I dreamt I was in a room, and the room was the abyss. The abyss was a womb for which my sister Tracy gave me the key to a door, the size of love in her heart, of divine love. My brother Sidney sailed my imagination, sharing his knowledge with love and joy and the wind of wonder. My sister Rome is seeing the all directions, organizing the cosmos in her eyes of the future. Truth unfolds its petals on my tongue. Truth unfolds its petals in my skull soaked in stars. What abyss spills its ink into the night? A rose of truth blossoming in my brain, singing the petals of my breathing. This labyrinth of lungs singing the wind, shadows pregnant with abyss. Where does the dagger of frustration hide its sweat? To what sky does the throat whisper its voice? This embryonic universe planting the seeds of future bread, the wind impregnated with whispers, these eyes of universe singing death's hymn, these eyes singing the spirit, the bread of lungs inhaling the wind, this drum of skull beating rhythm in the bones, this heart of light, this heart of the spirit, this breast of lungs beating the sky, this mother of lungs singing my hands to dream, bread, this father of eyes seeing the serpent universe dreaming night, love, the silence of fire, drinking the wind, the lung of listening, this heart of sun illuminating my veins, this mirror of lungs breathing the wind, the lungs pregnant with wind, the heart pregnant with sun, the veins pregnant with sky, the shadows pregnant with abyss, the brain pregnant with spirit, bones vibrating, doors vibrating, the light of the mother, the ear of the father singing bones, drinking my skull, my spirit knowledge, the lungs sprouting spirit, spirit, spirit. The skeleton of songs singing death, the skeleton of death, the arteries of death, the muscles of death dying, this thunder drumming the bones, vibrating the bones of the skull, this window of sky, this window of skull, this sky of skulls singing the wind, an orchid of hearts swimming its roots in sky, orbiting the airs, this fire of lungs singing the wind, this skull of foam seeding the universe with air, this breast of sun singing the lungs, this seed of lungs blossoming the wind, this voice of lungs seeding the wind, this thunder singing my bones, beauty breathing the skull, the shadow of lungs singing the wind, this skull of sun dreaming the sky, this larynx of voices singing the thunder, this orbit of lungs singing universe, these seeds of sound orbiting my skull, these seeds of sun orbiting the skull, this skull of sun swimming the lungs, the petals of breathing floating to cloud, this womb cave floating to sun, the petal of birth singing the perfume of wind, the petal of the womb singing an orchid of purple clouds, my mother's breathing singing the wind, my father's song of fire sealed in my heart of memory, this umbilical universe uniting, this fetus of sun singing the wind, this satellite of skull singing the skin, flowering the sun, this heart of sun vibrating the womb, this heart of sun vibrating the womb drum of universe, this labyrinth of lungs lighting the womb abyss of smoke, this abyss of stone hymning the bird of flight, this nest of lungs breathing the skull, this nest of lungs breathing the universe, this bird of blood blossoming sound, sun navigating the nerves sleeping shadows, this sky of sea sleeping, this bird of lungs floating in the womb, this bird of lungs breathing sky, this star of light breathing the abyss, the womb abyss dreaming lungs, the sky of sleeping lungs, dreaming the center, the edge, the abyss, an anatomy of the night structured with stars, Clayton Eshelman's lungs singing the abyss, the orbit of lungs breathing the night, lungs orbiting the womb, the divine light birth from the cosmic womb of the abyss, the wind of darkness lighting the stars, the womb of wind, this womb of windows, the womb of the wind is silence, Wayne Brown's beauty, germinating sky, a diamond of fire of infinite light, the balance of birth, floating in the dream, the stars singing, the voyage of the vagina singing the wind, the pearl of the penis fertilizing sky, the ear of the anus floating to cloud, this bird of clouds perfuming the womb, the ear of mother singing my wind, this shadow of skulls swimming, this pearl of wind foaming the lungs, this wind fire foaming the sky, this pearl of sky singing the lungs, this bird of lungs aviating the womb, this bird of lungs aviating the sky womb of night, the illusions incinerated in my skull of sun, of divine fires of the future, the spirit skull singing, the sun, these skulls orbiting petals of sun orbiting the skull, this larynx of lungs breathing the voice, this breast of sky singing the sun, this lung of thunder dancing the dream, this lung of hearts drumming the sea, this skull of wind singing the sun, this bird of breasts blossoming the clouds, this forest of ears foaming sun, this voice of lungs drinking the thunder of drumming bones, a cloud of lungs beating the heart of wind, the gravity of the ground, gestating my lungs to a sky of storms, of forever suns, a breast of lungs nourishing the wind, a breast of lungs weaving the sky, bones drumming the wind, this fetus of fire foaming my hand of ash, this heart of sky foaming the lungs, the gravity of roots dancing in my brain, this lung of flame dancing in the wind, this womb of silence navigating the sky, slender skull of wind, a heart of lungs flaming the sky, these pearls of wisdom navigating the gravity of the ground, the ground of God, these words of thunder drumming the bones, this vision of sun crystallizing the thunder tongue, this throat of sun warming the sky, the silence of lungs dreaming the abyss, the blackbird of abyss floating on a branch, this buoy of sun drifting in my heart, a blackbird of shadows dancing the wind, the lung of death drumming the heart, the lung of death breathing the heart's muscles. In the sky are born windows. I am a Caesar's light of air launching diamonds of fire into the unknown. The window of lungs drinking sky. The shadow of knowledge impregnating the abyss. A serpent of stars singing the spine. What serpent of stars sing the spine? This womb of abyss drinking the universe. The fruit of lungs breathing the wind. These blind crystals drinking salt tears, diamond saliva evaporating in the wind, this heart of hands foaming the tongue in a sea of wisdom, this voice born of sky, the silence singing my lungs, the lungs pregnant with silence, the stars screaming shouts, this lung of flame dancing in the teeth wind, this sleep of stars singing, the sky song of stones, Pablo Neruda's spirit floating, this air of lungs listening to the universe, this heart seeded with sun, this voice of lungs blossoming the wind, these drums in the bones thundering the mouth, this labyrinth of lungs singing my skull, this voice of lungs singing the wind, a lion larynx thundering the dream, this window of lungs blossoming the wind, this throat of sun singing the wind. Where does the sky sing its lungs? This lung of sky foaming the wind, this eye of sun dreaming the universe. What eye dreams the kaleidoscope? This lung of whispers weaving the womb of the wind, this window of whispers drinking the sun, this seeing of sky scattering the eyes, this window of wombs whispering death, whispering dreams, these roots of air foaming the wind, the silence of death singing my skull to sound, this voice of lungs singing the thunder, the silence singing my skull, this window pregnant with sky, these shadows pregnant with sun. Where are the roots of reality floating? Where does death dance in the drum? The sky of lungs bleeding the drums, this crocodile of sun foaming the air, this throat of ears thundering the sky, this sky of lungs vibrating the skull, this skull of sound singing the wind, thundering the dreaming air, the laughter of lungs singing the wind, the silence of my skull foaming sky. Where does the serpent sing the dream? the snake biting its tail, releasing the venom of healing, the pilot of dreams singing the wind, the sky of infinity singing the bones, bones vibrating sky, bones vibrating universe, the drums of the ears dancing to sky, this map of lungs singing the heart, this throat of thorns singing the heart, this throat of thorns singing thunder to sky, this umbilical universe uniting in sky, in dream, the voice of wind lighting the path, this voice of wind singing the womb of light, this voice of wind singing death to the womb, this window of lungs forming the wind, the teeth of sound singing my roots, this sail of lungs voicing the wind, this sky of lungs singing the wind, this drum of bones singing the wind heart to foam, these dove hands healing the storm in my skull, simple without praise, this womb of sky foaming the skull, this larynx of lungs thundering my jaw to sky, this mouth of sky singing the wind, abyss of drain transformed into crystal larynx of future water, cloud abyss of lung foaming sun. How many roses sing the blood of wine, this light of wind drinking sound, the imagination flowering thought to sky, this stone of wind singing the sun, this eye of fire foaming the throat of the wind, this sky of wind singing the womb, the teeth of sound vibrating the lungs, this constellation of lungs thundering the dreams, thundering the bones of lightning, this sea of lungs vibrating sky to sound, this throat of thorns thundering the dream, this sky of silences singing love, this orbit of lungs dreaming the face to sky, this dream of lungs vibrating my skull to silence and fire, this guide of dreams singing silence to the bones, dreaming the raw orbit of oblivion, this heart of lungs vibrating the drums of memory, the labyrinth of lungs singing the wind, fire pearls foaming sky. Where does the pearl develop its clouds? This heart of fire blazing, this gate of lungs breathing the universe, the lung vanishing in the wind, the infinite stone singing sky to lungs, this focus of sky floating to voice, the voice singing the stone, this tongue of universe blossoming bones, the drum of bones vibrating sea, this womb of lungs vibrating the wind, this absence of arrows vibrating the space of bones, the lightning floating to jaw, this heart of light foaming sky, this flight of lungs dreaming sky, this throat of lungs dreaming the breath, this throat of lungs dreaming the wind to womb, this window of whispers singing the voice, this abyss of lungs vibrating, these breasts of sun singing the wind to sky, this chest of sun singing the roots to sea, this window of lungs breathing the wind, singing the womb, this womb of lungs rooted in sky, this skull of stars, diamonds drowning in the wind, this sun singing sky, this sky of songs sprouting spines, this sky of lungs vibrating the spine, this sky blossoming skulls of wind, this cloud of skulls singing spine songs to the moon, this thunder of bones drumming the skull, to echo of embryos energizing the sun, doors of sky singing the womb, infinite stone drumming, thunder dancing in the lungs, the lightning that sleeps in stones. Where does the lightning hide its salt? In its astral milk of dancing, the grass singing the lungs, sails navigating the bones to dream, sails navigating the bones, the shadow of lungs sleeping in my skull, sky navigating the bones, a tongue of eyes sniffing the wind, this labyrinth of windows singing the skull of silence singing the sea, these eyes of fire foaming the sun, this womb of lungs breathing the universe, the shadow of the skull singing the streets, the sky singing the skull to sleep, the distance of lungs dreaming death, The skull of sleep singing the stones to sky. This orbit of skulls singing sleep to sky. This tongue of flame singing the wind. This map of lungs drinking the sun. This map of lungs, this map of thorns circling my skull, circling to ash. This map of islands singing sky to roots. This map of wind circling my throat to blossom skulls, to blossom hearts, the sky navigating my bones, this compass of my skull sailing the wind, navigating the dream of bones, these bones of sky vibrate the sun, diving the drums to sea, silence sings the skull, this voice of lungs vibrating the womb to sky, the abyss diving air, a breast of breath floating, a tongue of flame walking the sun to sleep, this air of lungs, visions, the future, the sky of lungs, this map of ash, this map of wind floating to skull, this skull of sea, forming universe, the sun, the sky sleeping, this door of sky, this door of bones drumming the night abyss, the distance of drums, this tongue of flame dancing, this owl of echoes, this lung of echoes forming the wind, this breast of song, this breast of sun singing the wisdom of universe, vibrating a dancing harmony, this eye of fire mapping sky, this skeleton of sea dancing in the sun of pregnant sleeping ink, this womb of imagination forming my skull to dream, this serpent of skulls singing the sun, this wave of lungs dreaming the skull to sleep, the future lung dancing, this voyage of lungs singing the sea, the sky of floating pearls dancing the drums to future lungs, the sky of lungs vibrating the light of the wind, this lung of tears drumming the sea, this serpent of stars drinking diamond saliva, the lungs of the future vibrating, the womb of imagination dancing the skull to dream, the womb of the imagination floating to pearl, the womb of the imagination mapping infinity, this map of wind dreaming the lungs to sky, of visions, of God's divine fire, of singing futures.